Hello and welcome to Liminal Tarot for the week of September, where are we? September 17th through the 23rd. September is going by fast. Time seems to be getting away from us. This is your weekly reading. My name is Breach, and I am going to do a tarot reading. It's going to be a combination astrological, cartouche cards, and tarot reading for this week, getting into all of the different astrological houses and looking at what's going on from that perspective. And in the end, I usually choose an oracle deck, and we sort of have a final card pull of some type, or rune pull or something, to just kind of finish off and give us a kind of full stop at the end of the sentence, or period at the end of the sentence on the whole reading. If you like this channel, please subscribe and hit the like button, because it helps me get up in the YouTube algorithm, and I also enjoy getting your comments. Although apologies, I know some of you comment, and because I'm switching between two channels, I don't always see the comments until about almost a week later, because my Gmail hides them. Everything gets hidden. So, and since I spend most of the week in the other channel, which is my Catonia channel, then it takes me a little bit to catch up with comments and stuff. So I appreciate every comment and every like and every subscription that everybody offers. So let's see what we're talking about for this week. This is our general reading for this week. Again, as I've said to people before who are perhaps used to doing readings by sign, if you are watching this reading, there's some reason you're watching it. Like, something about this is going to resonate for you. So, now astrologically this week, we have some influences. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, I gotta count, because I will lose count, and then I will confuse myself later on. There is, we're still in retrograde season. We have just passed the new moon. It's in Virgo. Okay, I couldn't quite remember where we were with that. Next month, we are going to be starting to move into eclipse season with the new moon solar eclipse that's going to occur roughly in a month, maybe slightly less, but we're going to be having the eclipses are going to be coming up in October, and eclipses always bring major shifts and upheavals, again affecting some signs more than others. I want to say this is the last. I know that the nodal axis has shifted to Aries Libra, but I think this may be, if I'm not, I could be wrong about this, so don't quote me, but I think this might be the last set of Taurus Scorpio eclipses. So I have to verify myself on that, because I'm generally looking, I'm not necessarily doing astrology charts every day, so I frequently, I'm not always sure that I'm getting it right. So with that sort of thing. So our tarot deck for today is called the Elemental Power Tarot, and it's a deck I've recently acquired, and I like it quite a lot. Okay. So let's see who we have here today. We are also, by the way, just speaking of astrology, in retrograde season still. Mercury retrograde has just ended, and I don't know about you, but it's been a huge breath of relief. I mean, I feel like it's been, I just feel like everything has, I can move forward. Like, I've been a lot more productive even in the last 2 or 3 days than I have been in a whole month. So it's a good, I feel like it's good. And even weather-wise, we were in this, at least here where I live, there was this really hot, sticky weather. There was like this hurricane off the coast that I think it ended up hitting Canada, but it didn't actually hit us. And, but this front came and just kind of pushed it all away. And with it, we've had these beautifully cool mornings where I can't even open windows because it's so cold, it'll turn the heat on. And I have everything turned way down still, because I'm not really quite ready to turn the heat on yet. But it'll be coming soon. And I'll have a wardrobe change too, because I'll be switching over to my autumn and winter wardrobe fairly soon. And I happen to love this kind of weather, so it has been literally a breath of fresh air. Okay, so let's look at our influences for this week, and we're going to start with our first house, with our Aries energy. First house having to do with identity, personality, how you face the world, what you show people. Okay, first house is about what you show people. And wow, we've got the wing disc and we've got the Ace of Wands. This is really strong fire because, as you can see, the wing disc card in the cartouche is the sun disc. This is the solar disc of Ra. And, you know, we have this with the root of the powers of fire here with the Ace of Wands. So I've been seeing this actually the last few weeks. I feel like we've been kind of in a place where now we're going to, people are, you know, they're clearing out the clutter around themselves, around their personality, around their clearing out self-doubt, clearing out perhaps old scripts, old ways of thinking about things, old ways of looking at things. And now we're moving into this space where we're feeling more sure about who we are and where we're going. Like, this to me is very, very strongly directed energy. I mean, if we use that energy in a way that is creative, productive, useful, and I'll say beneficial to us. Although sometimes you have to direct that energy towards something that's not so good if you're trying to remove a very difficult influence from your life. So sometimes you're fired up to do that as well. But we see definitely here this idea of there's like this new birth of the personality. I feel like a lot of people have been in this stage of transformation. So you're shedding old skins, old ways of thinking about things, old ways of doing things, and now you're moving more into your power and into, you know, who you are. So that is great. I'm going to do the weird thing that I do, which I don't do with any other house, and I'm going to read the house straight across from it, the relationship house, which is the house of Libra. And so this has to do with partnerships. So if this has to do with you personally, this house has to do with the relationships you have, whether you are a married person, whether you are in a committed relationship of some kind, whether we're talking about a business arrangement or a business partnership. It's important partnerships of all kinds. Generally not so much about family, but more about, you know, people who are non-binary. There are other houses that deal with family. I mean, sometimes this, you can see a little bit of that influence here, but I think it's more about that. And of course, if you're a single person, this could have to do with a prospective relationship, or it could have to just do with, you know, again, it could have to do with business or some other kind of significant partnership. And okay, we have Thoth here. So Thoth is a really interesting card to show up because Thoth is about, when it shows up in the 7th house, it generally has to do with fated relationships. And again, I'm using the word fated very advisedly here because I'm not one of those people who thinks that, you've got this ultimate destiny written in stone. I mean, maybe some people do. I mean, what do I know? But I do think that in general, it could indicate a relationship where you are, I mean, it could be that you are getting to, this is a partnership that is, the one for you. But it could also be just that you are going to encounter somebody who's going to teach you a lesson about something, where you're going to be able to, somebody you can learn from potentially. Or again, if this has to do with business, it's the same kind of a thing. Sometimes this has to do with legal arrangements. Sometimes Thoth has to do with healing. So this also could be a relationship that is healing in some fashion for you. And we have it with this is the Knight of Pentacles. I have to get used to the symbols on here. I think, wait, is it the Knight? No, that's the Queen, sorry. Queen of Pentacles. So what we're seeing here with this Queen of Pentacles is, this is the idea of stability, security. Queens generally are Taurus energy, regardless of anything, and also regardless of gender. I mean, the Queen of Pentacles to me is about somebody who is safe, who is secure, somebody who is nurturing, giving, somebody who you feel that you can establish something secure, somebody who's more practically minded, more down to earth, more focused. So it does seem to indicate that. I would think in terms of people looking for a relationship or wanting to know how a relationship's going to develop, Pentacle cards to me are about things that move rather slowly. Okay, so this is kind of slow moving. It's different from the Knight, because this is about, the Queen brings more of the emotional element into it. The knights don't tend to move, but the Queen of Pentacles is about taking a kind of a nurturing stance with somebody, or taking a stance that's more grounded, not something that's I mean, we see all this passion over here. So this is not about, flaring out. I mean, it's kind of, there's a sense here that you want to just, you want to take something slow, and you want to stay very grounded. I think that's the right word that I'm looking for here in terms of any new partnerships. Because if we are really talking about a long-term stable relationship, then it's something that you want to build slow and steady, and that you don't want to just rush into, even though we may be feeling very confident and like we want to do that. So so there's a sense of something. The Queen of Pentacles does have that Empress type energy to it, in that it's like you're planting the seeds of something and they are growing into something. And it's not just practically, but it's also emotionally as well. There's that emotional safety that comes along with this. So that's actually a very good omen. Again, if we are talking about work or business relationships or other types of relationships, then this might, again, I think a lot of that practicality still applies. And I would say in a business situation, it would be about balancing the practical aspects, the bottom line of something, when dealing with somebody or supporting somebody in a partnership or a situation, with an emotional component, with some level of compassion, with some level of having regard for the human factor and not just the bottom line. Okay, I feel like that's what that energy is saying. So let's go back to our Taurus house, which is the second house of money and values and your possessions. And we have Anubis here. So Anubis is about protecting. So it's about protecting your money. Right now, you may be, some people could be financially, I don't want to say that necessarily financially in a bad way, but you may feel a need to protect your finances. But I also feel like it can be for some people who may have been very worried about their finances, that this is saying, you're protected. I mean, we have it with justice. For some people, this literally could be a legal thing. It could be that you are, you might receive money from a settlement, or, maybe there's money that you're worried about if you are in a court case with somebody or something like that. That could apply to somebody. But justice is often about finding balance and finding truth, and also about paying your debts, quite literally. So this may be a time where you want to focus more on paying things down and getting your books in order financially as well. And, because justice is about balancing. It's also about truth. So if there's anything that's been going on that has not been above board in a financial situation, justice does indicate the truth coming out. Now, our third house has to do with Gemini energy. So this is communications, short journeys, siblings. This is, it's connected to a lot of things that we connect to Mercury. And as we remember, Mercury's been retrograde. It's still in its post-shadow period till about September 30th. So we still have some, influences from that. But we have Ta here. So yeah, this is about getting to work. Okay, we're back to building. Ta is about creating a strong foundation, about building something. It's very strong masculine energy associated with Ta, so I feel like this is a very active kind of energy that really fits in with what we're seeing in the first house here. We also have it with the Death card, and Death here is about change. So we are fundamentally, we are letting go of things that are not, relationships, people, liaisons. For some people, this could have to do with family situations, but I feel like there's a sense here that we are, that something is coming to an end. Some cycle is closing out, and now it's time for us to get busy, get to work. Ta has strong Capricorn energy, so it's very much associated with Saturn. So there is the idea that there is some work ahead. That you're not, everything's not going to be instantly. Even with an ending, it's not that the new beginning is instantly going to manifest as some complete kind of a thing, but it is urging us to put the work in and to be active. And again, we're seeing this with this sense of confidence here. So I feel like this is a change. I feel like this Death card is more of a good change. It's more that what's been stuck is going to become unstuck. What's been cluttering your life in terms of these things is now going to become, unstuck and uncluttered. It could mean some losses in the sense of, something that's being given up or something that goes away. But ultimately, death always brings about a transformation that's needed. I mean, we're getting rid of the things that are not part of where we're going. Fourth house, we have Cancer energy. So this has to do with your home, your environment, your mother, potentially. And yeah, we've got the Earth card here. For some people, this is going to be literally putting money into your home. You might be spending money, renovating, gardening, doing things. I mean, we're getting towards, at least here where I live, we're getting towards autumn time. It's going to be more springtime in the southern hemisphere. So, this could, there's a lot here about, cleaning up, clearing out, and, doing things to invest, I don't know, there's this investment that I'm seeing in structure. Excuse me, I'm sorry, this is also part of autumn. I have this cough that comes back. Earth card here has to do with, I think, also potentially with feeling secure and safe in your home, allowing yourself to have your feet on the ground. I mean, this is about, planting your feet on the ground in the home environment. So you are in this place where you are, where you feel secure and you feel like you're operating from a very secure place. I mean, this is the bottom of the spread. This is like the feet of the spread, dealing with more the root chakra and the root areas when we're talking about the chakras, and this. So earth to me is actually a good thing. It's you're supposed to be rooted to the earth, and so this suggests actually being rooted. And we have it with the Six of Swords. So the Six of Swords is really about, this is about movement away from conflict. Okay, it's out of the energy of the fives. I'm trying to see if we have any fives here. We do not have any fives here. So this is like that. That's kind of that. I mean, of course, we do have death and. Actually, I'm looking straight across. We have the Tower here as well. So there's that's interesting. We have so there is some big change that's going on, but it's not the changes of the fives. The fives usually indicate places where we are stuck with change. Like the Five of Pentacles is where we may be in poverty consciousness. The Five of Swords may be about where we're either dealing with jealousies or some kind of self-imposed mental limitations. This feeling of giving up. The Five of Cups is about where we emotionally can't let go of something from the past. And then the Five of Wands is about the competition and the quarrels that we may have with people. But when we move into the Sixth territory, I mean, again, for some people, it's Earth to me is about staying where you are, but Six of Swords is about moving. So for some people, this could indicate a literal move. You could be fixing up your home because you're going to be moving at some point. That is a possibility for at least some people. But this could also just mean moving into calmer water. And not feeling so stressed out, so uncertain, so full of doubt about things. You may be ready to plant your seeds here and to move ahead. And to see this with the Ta next to Earth here in this particular, third and fourth house, yeah, there's definitely the sense that we are laying the groundwork for something new. Okay, fifth house is Leo energy, and this has to do with our creative projects. If you have children, it would have to do with that. Potentially love affairs. Very strong fertility angle to this house as well. And, create, and also leisure, what we do for fun. And we have Buckle of Isis here. And this is one of the reasons that the word fertility came into my mind. Because for somebody, and again, for some, definitely a very specific message here, somebody who's been wanting to be pregnant might be. Okay, when I see Buckle of Isis in the fifth house, that's typical. That I don't want to say that's always what it means, but for somebody, it means that. I feel pretty strongly. And we've got this Knight of Cups here too. I think what I would say for people who are not dealing with that issue, Buckle of Isis indicates again there's this element of hard work, of work that we're putting into something we're giving up on, something we're compromising, or some way in which we may be, either putting extra time into something or, just letting go of something or giving up something. And by, that maybe that is a sacrifice for us, something that maybe we're reluctant to let go of or not want to do. And it's kind of saying that this sacrifice will be rewarded. Like this is the reaping the fruits of your reward. If we think about it in a fertility sense, in the way that what a woman goes through getting pregnant, giving birth to children. And the idea is that the birth of the child at the end is the reward, so to speak. So, but we don't have to think about this just in terms of actual childbirth. This can be something that has to do with, something that you're working on, that maybe you're putting some blood, sweat, and tears into, or maybe you're not necessarily feeling like there's a return on your investment at this point. But this definitely seems to indicate it's worthwhile. Now, Knight of Cups for some people, again, if you're single and you're looking for a relationship, Knight of Cups can be an invitation from somebody. Okay, this is about somebody coming and bringing an invitation, and being it's Knight of Cups tends to have more to do with romantic offers. It doesn't have to, though. Sometimes Knight of Cups is just somebody making you an appealing offer. An appealing offer, and potentially one, again, that might require you to make a decision or to give something up. But this is more or less indicating that it's worth it. That there may be something about it that's worth it. So yeah, because I mean, the Knight of Cups can bring distractions too for some people as well. It can be something that you're fixated on, and you need to kind of put your energy away from that. But I don't really feel that here. I feel like there's what's coming into my mind is that for some people, this is saying, you might even be the one to make the invitation. Okay, there may be this idea, either somebody's inviting you or you are being prompted to make an invitation. Because again, there's this idea of risk here with Buckle of Isis. You're putting something out there, or you're giving something up, or you're laying something on the line that ultimately will yield fruit. So, take that as it resonates. Okay, our 6th house is Virgo energy. This is where we have anxiety, mental worry, health concerns, and also things that may have to do with our work in the sense of our job, rather than what we might think of as our career. There's a lot of people. I mean, some people are just doing what their career is, and there's no difference. Other people, you're doing something to pay the bills, while what you really do, or what you really want to do, is something perhaps a little more substantial. And this is interesting because we have air. So air, for some people, this is going to mean a change around. This could be a change of job. It could be traveling for a job. It can also just have to do with detachment from something, stepping back from a worry. This is about lightening up to some degree. It's not taking something so seriously, not worrying so hard about something. And we have it with this, with the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands it's like a decision that has to be made. There's a decision time here. The Two of Wands usually shows a person standing between two wands. They've got their hand on the one, they've got a globe in the other, and they're kind of looking out to sea. And they've got their big castle and everything. So there's this idea of moving from this place of safety here and having to make a decision to move outward. And perhaps we're anxious about making that decision, or what that's going to mean, or whether we're making the right decision. But air indicates detachment. I would say if you are in a position of having to make a decision, what you would want to do is there's the whole, if you're a meditator, you're aware of this, but there's the idea of watching the watcher. You want to back off to some degree and watch the situation you're in as though you're watching a movie. Okay, you watch it, and then you see where you watch it as though it's happening to somebody else. Sometimes that's helpful. Or you think about it as if the decision you have to make, if you had like your best friend or a family member or somebody who you really care about had to make this decision, the question becomes, what would you tell them? Okay, what would you advise them if you were the objective outside third party observer? You want to observe yourself, and you want to observe the emotions you have, but you want to stand back from it and just look at it from the distance. Because when you're in the middle of it, you can't necessarily make a good decision. The logical choice isn't always the right one, but also the one that is maybe clouded by emotions also may not be the right one. So you want to kind of get away from it and not only get a sense of what it looks like with your feet on the ground, very practically, but also get a sense of what it looks like, how you're feeling about it from that distance, because your feelings do count. Your feelings about things do count. Okay, so we've done our 7th house, so let's go to the 8th house of Scorpio. And what we have here, okay, this is interesting. We have Lotus here. So Lotus is about it's about, again, calming the mind. Lotus shows up when we have been very stressed out about things. And this is in the house of transformation. So again, there's this anxiety about changes. And as we're going to see, there's another big change showing up in the ninth house as well. There's a need here, definitely. It's funny I mentioned meditation down here, because there may be a need to ground, to center yourself, to relax, to try to find a way to de-stress and not worry so much about changes that are coming up. Now, okay, we have this with the Ten of Pentacles. So there's a couple of possibilities for this in the 8th house. Now, one is that it could literally, again, have to do with this idea of security. There's definitely a strong family association with the Ten of Pentacles. So this may be about, your familial community of support, whatever your situation is. It can also have to do with, there's this circle of support. It can have to do with, again, needing to feel that stability and security. Like the Ten of Pentacles to me is the culmination of material wealth. It's the culmination of feeling safe and secure and like you have enough. So that could be what the worry's been about. There could be worries that you're making changes that are going to threaten or disrupt this, either disrupt a family situation or disrupt this sense of material security and harmony. But this seems to indicate that wouldn't happen. The other possibility for the Ten of Pentacles is that because this is a house of legacy and this is a card of legacy. So for some people, and again, this is very individual and you will know if it applies to you, this could have to do with inheriting something. And it's funny because we're seeing justice over here. So for some people, this may literally mean receiving an inheritance. Okay, so because 8th house is the house of other people's money. And this tends to tend very strongly towards family legacies. So the fact that it's showing up in that house, I mean, the only way it could be more concretely that is if the Earth card showed up there as well. But I feel very strongly for somebody. Now, again, this isn't going to apply to everybody, obviously. But for some people, that's what that may indicate there. So there could be some kind of monies coming, or at least some kind of money coming from family, even if it's not a legacy, even if there's not a death that brings that money. But, 8th house is also the house of death. So that's why that's typically the association there. But it doesn't have to be. Okay, so now we've got the 9th house. Now, the 9th house is about higher education, long-distance travel. It's Sagittarius energy. So this is about knowing or deep knowing of something. And okay, we've got almost two opposite cards here. We have we have Osiris. Okay, and Osiris is how do I want to put it? Osiris is a card of stability. Like I said, there's strong Emperor energy, and in fact, it is the card of Sagittarius in the Sagittarius house, which is very interesting. So there's definitely a sense of strength, control, stability, being able to rely on your judgment, being able to rely on what you know. In terms of travel, I would say that this is not a card of travel. Osiris generally indicates kind of staying put, at least for the time being. And then with Earth down here, yeah, there's this sense of establishing a foundation or just staying put for the moment. Again, for those who are in school or those who are dealing with education or just trying to learn deeper things, this just may be about gaining a solid foundation in something. However, it's interesting because we have it with the Tower. And as I noted, the 3rd and 9th houses are on the same axis. This has more to do with Sag, and it's Mercury Sag. And, while Mercury knowledge is more superficial, this has to do with something that's a bit deeper. So the Tower tears stuff down, okay? We see that the Tower is burning at the top. This is sometimes referred to as the House of God. And it's actually, its image is a reference to the Tower of Babel, which, I could go off on a tangent about that, just given some of my other interests, but there's the idea that everybody at one time spoke the same language, and that people got together and the peoples of the world decided to build this tower up towards the heavens, up towards where God is supposed to be. And that they're trying to build something, and that's considered to be an act of hubris mythologically everywhere. You have the stories of the giants that are stacking rocks trying to get up to Mount Olympus, and then they end up getting punished in the depths of Tartarus. The Tower is about what happens is that Jehovah or Yahweh, being a lightning god, or being a storm god, I should say, throws his lightning bolt, knocks the tower down, and of course that's when people are scattered, and then all of a sudden they can't understand each other. That's supposedly where world languages come from, right? That everybody now cannot understand each other. So the tower is about, but the tower in the tarot deck has to do with raising false structures. So this is about getting rid of false beliefs. So something that you have, maybe fundamentally believed, some narrative that you've embraced may be falling under its own weight. I mean, if it's something that's not true, or at least not true for you anymore, it may be falling away. And that may put you on shaky ground. That may make you feel like you are, in the middle of an earthquake, mentally or psychologically. You may be shaken up by something. But you have Osiris. So again, this suggests to me that ultimately you're going to be fine. You're raising it and creating this new foundation here. And it's a foundation that's based more on truth, more about where it is that you need to be. So that's interesting, but that's showing up. So it may have to do, it could be somebody taking a journey where something very unexpected happens, but ultimately I feel like it's saying, things are going to be okay. Like there's a foundation that's being built and you want to build it properly. You don't want to build it based on falsehoods. Okay. So, our 10th house now has to do with Capricorn energy. This is Saturn, and this has to do with our reputation, fame, status, how we're seen in the world. And we have Isis first. So Isis is this is a very maternal card in the paternal house, because this is the house of the father. So it's interesting. The mother card's showing up in the house of the father. But I feel like this is a situation that you are, in terms of what you might be doing career-wise, reputation-wise, or business-wise, you maybe still, there's a need for patience here. When Isis shows up, there's definitely a need to be patient with yourself, to be patient with other people. I feel like Isis, like what's the phrase coming into my head is there's somebody being too hard on themselves or placing too many unrealistic expectations on themselves. And I feel like Isis is about being compassionate, but it is kind of telling you that this is a situation that requires patience and time. So don't freak out if things are not working out right away. Like, you want to be kind to yourself, and you want to make sure you're dealing with some self-care. And this is also about caring about others. You don't want to be, it's interesting because I'm seeing that kind of energy down here as well. Like, even in the 7th house with business partnerships, you don't want to be ruthless when it comes to something. And interestingly here is that we have this with the 2 of Cups. So the 2 of Cups is about partnerships. So for some people, this will definitely indicate a business partnership that is dynamic, both perhaps emotionally as well as practically. But the 2 of Cups here there's definitely a partner, whether this person is also a romantic partner, because 2 of Cups tends more towards that in terms of its meaning, but it doesn't have to mean that. 2 of Cups can just show up when you're working with somebody. So it may indicate that whatever it is you're building and that you need to be patient with is going to be something that's going to ultimately come to fruition by working with someone else. Okay, that there may be somebody who is going to be helpful to you. And again, there's this strong emotional, there's the Queen energy here, and there's the strong emotional component here. So I feel like this is just somebody who's going to be, this could be somebody who's a romantic partner and a business partner. It's not out of the question. But it's, there's definitely this sense that you're going to be working with someone and that this is going to be the thing that's going to move you ahead. We've also got the number 2 twice. So for some people, that could be something happening in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. 2 of Cups, so sometimes is 2 days, but I don't necessarily, that may be a little fast. So but there's definitely this sense of, for some people, this just means your success is going to come through this kind of partnership that's going to be showing up with Thoth over here at the right time. Okay, I think that's probably a better way to talk about Thoth even more than karma, because karma is a funny word. Karma really has to do with what you. It has to do. Karma is the word for action. Okay, so it has to do with your action or inaction. And when Thoth shows up, I feel like it's more saying that something is going to happen at the right time. Whatever the right time is, and whatever background circumstances make it the right time. I mean, that is something that you're going to be encountering or dealing with. Okay, let's move on to our 11th house of Aquarius and Aquarius energy. This has to do with our friendships, our hopes and wishes and goals. And yeah, once again, we have Pyramid. Pyramid is saying this has to do with building a friendship or with building a network or something. Pyramid indicates being tested. Okay, this is a test situation. Something is going to take time. If you've been working towards something, it's still going to take time. It's not going to happen, you're going to see, again, if you're not feeling like you're seeing the fruits of your labor or if certain things are happening, Pyramid says you will, eventually this is going to bear fruit. It's just that there's still this, there's all of these cards of building and building blocks. It's really interesting. And building things correctly. So something is still going to take some time. That said, we have it with the Chariot. So again, kind of like we had the Tower and Osiris, which seem kind of opposite to each other. The Chariot is the fastest moving card in the deck. So Chariot, but what I feel like it might mean here is not necessarily that something's going to move fast, but that there may be a trip or a journey that actually changes the situation or changes things up. And seeing the Tower over here in the House of Long Journeys, it may be that, that whatever breakthrough needs to happen may be happening with respect to a long trip. And it does seem to involve another person. Okay, there seems to be another person involved. This could be very specific for some person. For somebody watching this, it could be something very specific for you. But I do feel like we're looking at, there's definitely the idea that, nonetheless, the Chariot reminds me of Osiris over here in the sense of you want to take control. It's about driving your own chariot, not letting somebody else take control of the reins, like you doing it yourself. And so and to me, there is a promise there of movement and progress. It just may not, we're still getting out of that retrograde energy. We're still looking to try to move ahead here. Okay, 12th house this is the Pisces energy. This is the last house. And this has to do with what is hidden. As we mentioned, the first house is about what you show to people. This is about what's hidden. And we have Bast here, okay? So Bastet is an interesting card. This is a card of intuition, of receiving deep intuitive messages. So this, so I think if you are, hearing that, quote unquote inner voice, it doesn't always present itself as a voice. Sometimes it sort of does. Not to sound like there's a psychosis going on here, but a lot of us do kind of have that little still small voice that will just pop in now and again, and that we frequently ignore because we're told, well, that's just probably some silly thought that I'm having, right? But no, follow your intuition. Unconsciously, there's a whole lot going on. I feel like there's a lot of information coming in for people. And we also have the Three of Pentacles here. So yeah, this indicates, this is also a house of what you're afraid of. And again, it's kind of on the axis with the house of worry, which is the Virgo house. So Virgo, Pisces are on this axis. And so there may be this unconscious fear about what you're building and who you're building it with, because the Three of Pentacles is about, it's about building something, usually with somebody else. The threes tend to be about working with a third party somewhere. So there may be some concerns about how something is going to grow or whether or not these associations are correct. But again, this is in the house of fear. So I feel like it's saying, if you just follow your intuition on something, be cautious, be circumspect and sensible and cautious, that you will be okay in whatever situation it is. But you will be getting a lot of intuitive messages. Now, this is also the house of foreign travel, and I bring it up because I'm seeing some things about travel and movement here, so I always tend to try to look at that component of the 12th house. And I don't know, there's a possibility here too that somebody is either going to an event overseas or somebody is looking to build something overseas. That came into my mind. That's not normally what I would say about this or about this house. This is, kind of a little out of the ordinary. Bastet could indicate an art event, a concert. It could be something, I don't know, something connected to art, music, dance, that kind of stuff. This is very much connected with that, because worship of Bastet and the Bastet festivals in Egypt were very much connected with that. This is a system, they would shake, there was all this, this very festive kind of an atmosphere that's connected with Bastet. So that is that may also be, I mean, also for some people that could literally just be saying you're afraid of lightening up and enjoying yourself, and you really should take the time out to do that. It will be worth it. In fact, if we look at the House of Leisure, which is the Leo house, Buckle of Isis can also mean that, it is worth letting go and letting your hair down a little bit, because, that actually can be beneficial to you. It's beneficial to your health for sure. Okay, overall, we have the Twins. And that's interesting because the Twins, we have it just below the Two of Cups here. This seems to indicate other people, working with other people, the influence of other people on what's going on with you this week. Again, whether it be business, whether it be romantic, whether it just be the support of friends or colleagues, there's definitely this idea of partnering with somebody that's central. We have it with the World. So the World tells us that there's certain things, like what's coming into my mind is certain blockages are coming to an end. The World represents the successful conclusion of something, but it also represents the widening of borders and boundaries. So I think as you're cleaning up this old business, like I think it's represented here on this third, ninth house axis here with Death in the Tower, I feel like we're moving into this new space. Okay, there's a completion, there's a harvest that's coming on up. Something is finishing, and this is going to allow you to open up your world to meet others, to encounter others, to work with others in whatever situation this applies to. Because again, this is a general reading, so it's going to mean different things to different people. But overall, I would say this is good. I mean, there's something clearly going on here in the Mercury Sag thing. There's definitely some big changes that are going on, or big potential shakeups, but I wouldn't get too freaked out by that. I feel like whatever it is, it's rocking your world a little bit, but it's going to put you in a much better place, and it's going to be having you operate from a place of truth, and will allow you to finish what needs to be finished. So that to me is all good news here. So let's pull our extra card for this week. I'm using the Essential Oil Oracle this week. I have various oracles that I use. There's just kind of singular cards. And let's see what we have for this week. Let's see what we pull out as our little final message before we say goodbye. Okay. Yep. Okay, so what's our final message for this week? Okay, here we go. We have the arrow, or the palm. That's our card for this week. And I will read to you what it says. The key word here is divination, weirdly, which is what we're doing right now. The trigger statement is, I am so drained. The true statement is, I am shielded. And the statement at the bottom says, you are finding balance as you see what resonates and what does not. With clear sight, you are safe and protected. Okay, so that's a good summary of what we're looking at here. We're safe and protected. The things that we're worried about, we may be exhausted. We have gone through a very difficult couple of months here with the retrogrades and just other things that have been going on throughout August and even through the end of September. But you are protected. I think that's the key here. You are protected through all of this, and you do not need to worry. The right people and situations, they are going to come up at the right times. I'm looking here again at Pyramid and Thoth. Number 5 seems to be important here for some people, because they both of those cards, one is a number 5, the other adds up to 5. So it could be 5 weeks, 5 months. Don't know. There's something about 5 for somebody, but there's definitely this idea that we are moving ahead with something. But it's going to take time, and it's going to happen at the right time. So you need not worry yourself that the efforts you are making are not going to bear fruit. So that's it for me for this week. I hope you have a great week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.